A WNBA lockout is on the horizon.
The WNBA players have rejected the first CBA offer.
The WNBA is heading towards a lockout. Work stoppage is probably the most correct way to describe it.
The CBA negotiation that's going on, players have rejected it.
It would be so on brand for the WNBA to gain momentum and then go into a lockout, killing their sport.
A WNBA lockout is now inevitable. The players have rejected the league's first CBA offer, calling it a slap in the face. Breanna Stewart is furious. Satou Sabally is leading the charge for a work stoppage. The league is heading straight toward disaster. But here's the most infuriating part. The one player who single-handedly saved this league, Caitlin Clark, isn't even in the room. The woman who brought millions of new fans, filled arenas, and made the WNBA must-see TV is being completely shut out of the most important negotiations in league history. If you stand with Caitlin and believe she deserves a seat at the table, drop 100% for Caitlin in the comments right now.
I think we can focus on our players in the union. We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face.
The WNBA owners dropped their first CBA proposal, and players wasted no time tearing it apart. Satou Sabally, a WNBPA representative, went public immediately. We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face. That exact phrase spread like wildfire across social media. This wasn't just about money, it was about respect, and the players made that crystal clear. Breanna Stewart, one of the most respected union reps, echoed the same frustration. You're not expecting to hear yes on the first proposal, but you're expecting to have a conversation. They kind of just ignored everything we said. There's a growing feeling that the league is just going through the motions without actually listening to the athletes. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson even read a prepared statement on national TV. As the league grows, it's time for the CBA to reflect our true value. We're fighting for a fair share of the business we built.
Caitlin Clark is the one bringing all the media attention. Caitlin Clark is the one bringing all the young guys to the WNBA, people who are wanting to watch and tune into all these games. All the fans want to be just like Caitlin.
Some version of animosity based upon the love that Caitlin Clark is receiving by everybody else.
In reality, she is the best thing that's ever happened to this league.
Caitlin Clark is must-see TV.
But here's what players don't want to acknowledge. The WNBA is drowning in red ink. The league lost $50 million last year and is expected to lose $70 to $80 million this year. These aren't projections. These are losses already baked into the books. The WNBA has never turned a profit, ever. Since its founding, the league has lost an average of $10 million per year. They're living off subsidies from the NBA, essentially surviving on the legacies of LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Michael Jordan. When players walk into CBA negotiations demanding charter flights, better facilities, and larger salaries, owners aren't rejecting them out of greed. They're looking at years of financial bleeding. Many believe a lockout might actually save them money compared to running another brutal season. That's the real problem. Owners don't fear a shutdown. Some would prefer it.
The WNBA players have rejected the first CBA offer. And of course, they got to get fly at the mouth over it.
Satou Sabally, a WNBPA player representative, told the media and said it was a slap in the face.
The WNBA sent a proposal to the union, and it was, quote, a slap in the face.
Now, here's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to discuss: Caitlin Clark. Her arrival boosted league growth exponentially, and everyone knows it. Without her, league-wide viewership dropped 55%. That's not coincidence. That's cause and effect. Clark has done more for the WNBA in 6 months than some marketing departments did in 2 decades. She's brought millions of new fans, filled arenas, spiked merchandise sales. Her jersey outsold every other player before she even stepped on a pro court. She's not just an athlete, she's a walking economy. And yet, incredibly, she's still not part of the CBA discussions. She's not on the union board. She's not in the negotiating room. The players leading the charge have shown no interest in bringing her in, despite her being the only reason they're in a position to negotiate at all. There's obvious jealousy and resentment toward Caitlin among veteran players. One insider said bluntly, "There is a level of respect, but I don't think they like her." Caitlin spent a year trying to be liked by these players and still got shut out.
Breanna Stewart, CBA negotiations. She ended up stating absolutely frustrated. Anytime you go back and forth, you're not expecting to hear that yes on the first proposal, but you're expecting to have a conversation. They kind of just ignored everything we said.
The WNBA is negotiating for larger salaries, shares of league revenue, and improved conditions.
As the league grows, it's time for the CBA to reflect our true value.
Here's the truth. No one in the WNBA front office wants to say out loud, Caitlin Clark has more leverage than the players' union and owners combined. Her presence isn't just a marketing asset. It's the only reason the new $3 billion media rights deal is even on the table. Without her, those network executives don't even pick up the phone. She's the reason for the league to be in position to make these asks. They're getting this media rights deal because of her. When Caitlin asked for spot bonuses for other players, the league said no. When she tried to negotiate better terms on behalf of teammates, nothing happened. So now you have a situation where the player who saved the league is isolated, disrespected, and likely watching all this with one eyebrow raised. If she walked away tomorrow, the WNBA's financial momentum would collapse in a week. The owners know it, the fans know it, the media knows it. But instead of giving her a seat at the table, they're playing politics.
Focus on the teams that have everything set up right now, Sabali said.
You know there's one player that's not in those CBA negotiations?
But here's where it gets really interesting. Some players may actually benefit from a lockout. Many union leaders pushing for a work stoppage have equity stakes in Unrivaled, the upstart league created by players for players. Think about what happens if the 2025 WNBA season is canceled. The vast majority of WNBA players are part of Unrivaled, where they own pieces of the league. There's a non-zero chance they're thinking, if we get this season canceled, suddenly Caitlin Clark becomes a free agent in the market of exposure. If she were to play in Unrivaled, that league would explode overnight. Brand deals, sponsors, viewership, everything would follow her. The players who own pieces of Unrivaled could triple their investment. One insider even said it outright. If Caitlin Clark joins Unrivaled, they make more money from that than their WNBA salaries. So now we're in a situation where some players might actually want a lockout, not despite Caitlin Clark, but because of her.
There's only one player in the league worth that kind of money, and honestly, she's probably worth $10 million a year.
Players don't have any leverage.
The reality is, there's a growing divide inside the league, not just between owners and players, but between players themselves. About 80% of WNBA players will become free agents next year, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Teams like the Indiana Fever are raking in massive media attention and financial momentum. Caitlin's teammates are reportedly making 7 and even 8 figures through sponsorships and brand collaborations. She's elevated the value of everyone around her. But compare that to players on what insiders call poverty franchises. Teams like the Chicago Sky, Connecticut Sun, and LA Sparks. They're still playing in outdated facilities, flying commercial, and being asked to wait while the league spends expansion money elsewhere. The resentment is real and growing. The Connecticut Sun is actively trying to sell because they can't afford to keep up. When players like Sabali call the CBA offer an insult, what they're really saying is, we see the league growing, but we're not part of that growth.
Be so on brand for the WNBA to gain momentum, start getting viewership, start selling at arenas, and then go into a lockout, killing their sport.
At this point, we're no longer speculating. Every signal points in one direction. A lockout in 2025 isn't just possible, it's likely. The players have rejected the deal. The league's losing money, and the most valuable asset in women's basketball is being sidelined. If a lockout happens, everyone loses. But some will lose more than others. The veteran players pushing hardest may gain short-term wins. The struggling franchises will suffer most. And Caitlin Clark? She'll land on her feet no matter what. Because when the dust settles, every league, WNBA or otherwise, will still want Caitlin Clark. She's not just the future, she's the present, and the league is playing a dangerous game pretending otherwise. This is bigger than basketball now. It's about vision. The WNBA is on the verge of its most profitable era, yet they're alienating the one person responsible for that turnaround. You don't shut out the star who saved your business. You build around her, you listen to her, you give her a voice. Without Caitlin, the growth stops. The cameras disappear, the sponsors pull out. If the WNBA doesn't course correct fast, they won't just face a lockout, they'll risk losing the one player who gave the league life again. So if you believe Caitlin Clark deserves better, say it loud in the comments, 100% for Caitlin, because this league needs to wake up before it's too late.
The Valkyries are going to bring in more money into the WNBA than any other team.
Add a couple more roster spots so that rookies aren't just getting